Thank you. Thank you.
For 13 years, in his free time, he enjoys Toastmastering, movies, rock music, and torturing people with his cooking.
So the cake's on me today, yeah?
It is indeed a privilege to have you with us, sir. And I'm sure our members and guests will greatly benefit from this interaction.
Thank you.
But before we start, can I know more about the Santa in your life?
Okay. So, unlike everybody else, I actually believe in Santa. And I don't think there is any particular Santa. It's called Santa when it happens out of the blue and suddenly things work out for you. So it doesn't have to be Christmas, any time of the day. Somebody or the other is watching over you, and I believe that's who Santa really is. Also?
Let's know more about crafting winning speeches. Over
Thank
to
you.
Tim.
Thank you. All right, so if you'll tide, then I'll also tide. Okay. It was too corny to hold on to, so I had to let it out. Okay. So my first question to you all is, who is taking part in the international speech contest this year? No? Just one? Okay, so then we'll just have this conversation instead. A more important question. Why do you want to give a speech at all? Why don't you let other people do the talking? Why do you need to give a speech? It's nerve-wracking to take the stage and to tell a story about your life or whatever your experience is in front of people who are, seriously looking at you as if they're going to devour every word you say. So why do you want to put yourself through all of that, go up on stage and tell your story? During the introduction, the MC, the Toastmaster of the day, had said that one of my hobbies is torturing people with my cooking. This is not exactly true. Some of them are still alive. And they do enjoy my cooking. My cooking used to be really bad, but I promise you I've improved a lot. Earlier on, my specialty was only biryani, but now I've moved on to chocolate cake as well. I make a really mean chocolate cake. And I mean mean when I say mean. Last month, I decided that I would be Santa for my two kids. And I convinced my wife that it's a good idea to let me bake a cake. I mean, it's so much easier to just order it on Talabat. We could even give the $5 of the word of the day to the driver. But I convinced her, no, let me do this. One advantage came out of my baking experience. The cake exploded. The chocolate icing reached so many places in the kitchen that we actually had to hire someone to clean the kitchen for us. So unexpected benefits come out of your experiments. But the point is, if at all there is a point, the point is, we remember stories. If we remember some moments from our life, there is a story associated with it. And where there was no story, we tend to forget these things. You remember the lectures you had when you were going to university and studying your degrees or whatever it is? They were all boring. But where your teacher was able to connect with you with personal experiences and stories and make it fun, that's a memory now, right? The exam is over, you don't need that intelligence anymore. I mean, what I learned in my university, I don't think ever in my life or career I have used it. But you still remember those moments. And some of these stick in your mind. That's what you're trying to create with your speech. Sharing your story so that it could benefit someone, they could be entertained, and you could give them something to remember you by. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is questions. Now, when the theme of the day and Santa and all came into play, I thought, okay, when it comes to my family, I'm the Santa, right? I'm the one who provides. I learned one important thing, that a major role of the father is to answer questions. And they never stop. I mean, my kids are 9 and 11. I thought they would have had enough by now of my fictitious answers. They would just Google and search. No, they still come back for more questions. One question that you need to answer for your audience. What's in it for them? to listen to your speech for 7 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, what are they getting out of this? What is the value that you are providing to your audience through your speech? If you're not able to answer this question, then you need to look back at what you're talking about, why what you're saying is important, and how can it be structured in such a way that it adds some kind of value to your audience. 3 questions I want you to look at when you decide what topic to speak about. The first one is it something you love? A topic that you love speaking about. Maybe a topic that you're good at, maybe something that you really enjoy doing, maybe it's related to your work, maybe it's related to your hobbies, maybe it's something that you have, good knowledge about. The second one is something you're an expert at. If you had to listen to a speech about a healthy heart, maybe you would want to listen to it from a doctor, right? Or if you wanted to listen to a speech about space travel, maybe you want to listen to a scientist or an astronaut, not any other Tom, Dick and Harry that you see. Right? The third one is, would it be something your audience is interested in? Now, my profession, I'm an IT consultant, which basically means I sell you software that you don't need for problems that you don't have at prices that you really shouldn't pay for it anyway. That's my job, and I'm quite good at it. But if I were to take this for 20 minutes that I have and speak about, say, cloud computing or the latest in data security, except for one person there, no one else may be interested in this at all, right? So you want to have a mix of these 3 things, something that you love, something that you know, and something that your audience would be interested in. So when you list out your choices of topics, write them all down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up till 10, whatever it is. Start taking, okay, something I know, I am passionate about, I am aware of, and something that the audience will like. Wherever you find 3 ticks, that's where your ideal topic would most likely be there. And this list of topics will keep changing. As your experiences changes, as your interest changes, the list of topics will change. Right. Who here loves a story? Yeah? All right. So I want to share a little story with you, and you can tell me whether it's nice or what I can do to improve it, or whether you enjoyed it, right? So let's go. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, because that's how everybody starts a story, right? All right. So once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was a beautiful little house. And in that house there lived a man and a woman. They had 2 children and a small dog. They had a beautiful, lovely garden in front of them. There was a river flowing nearby. In the backdrop were the majestic mountains. Oh, the sky was blue. The birds were chirping. It was a fantastic day. The end. How was that story? Short and sweet. It was beautiful. Yeah. Do you guys enjoy it? It was the most boring story I've heard in my life. Something has to go wrong. Right here, I don't know, maybe the wind blew the roof of that house, or the river flooded, or they had no internet that day. Something has to go wrong. If nothing goes wrong, there's no story. Right? If there's no challenge, there's no story. Have you had challenges in your life? Yes. Have you had challenges today? Yes. For a moment I thought maybe I chanced upon the one room in the world where there are no challenges. We have challenges all the time. We have challenges finding parking. We have challenges in traffic. They said the reindeers don't like the heat of Dubai. The reindeer will bear the heat. He won't bear the traffic here. So there are challenges in our life, and from those challenges come our stories. From your mess comes your message. So look into your life. Find those moments when you struggled. Find those challenges that you overcame, and that's where your story that you want to share with your audiences. I guarantee you one thing. If you look at any room of people in the world, there will at least be one person who is going through or who has gone through the same challenge that you have. And the way you overcame your challenge is exactly what they can apply. And that's how your speech brings value to people. So when you think about what stories to share, look into your life, find those moments when you were at your bottom, when you had hit rock bottom, when you had those challenges, when you thought you wouldn't be able to come out of it, and yet you did. And that's where that beautiful story lies. The purpose of telling a story. You remember back when we were kids, we had, the grandparents or the parents telling us all those stories. We and our cousins all would sit there and, we'd listen on to it like it was a world-changing story. Most of those stories were false, right? We know that they just made it up. The idea was just to put the moral into the kid. That was the whole purpose of it. Oh, but we would still listen to those stories. Kings and queens and great warriors and all kinds of things. When I was growing up, we had stories of animals speaking to each other. Sharing wisdom. Apparently the fox was the cleverest of them all. Yeah, and they expected us to believe it also. Yeah. But the point is, when we listen to those stories, we always wished we were those characters, right? We were those heroes. We were the big people there. We were the ones who would change the world. We were the ones who people would look up to. And that's exactly what your speech does. When you talk about how you overcame your challenge, the changes that you made in your life, that's when your story becomes their story. And that's the real reason to tell a story. At some point, your story becomes their story. Now, it's always been stories. That's the way that people have always shared news. Back in the day when there wasn't any internet or newspaper, people used to run from one part of the world to the other, telling stories of, great lands and riches and, gardens and all sorts of things. If you have kids or around kids, you'll always see that the kids will come up to you and say, Daddy, Daddy, tell me a story. Yeah? No kid has ever come up and said, Daddy, Daddy, show me a PowerPoint. No. It's never that. It's always tell me a story. And even now, when you put up your PowerPoint and you show your boss, look boss, we made a loss of 30%. Yeah, he's not going to enjoy that story, right? But if you tell him, look, we started out good, it was very positive until this crisis started in Ukraine and we are not able to export, but we believe with the new regulations and all, it's going to come back together and we'll end up at plus 15%. You've just made your case. Right? So it's about conveying your message in the form of a story. What do you remember about the great stories in your life? If you want to deliver a great speech, one thing to remember, which I've heard, it's not mine, I borrowed this, is don't deliver speeches. Share experiences. Because people don't remember don't remember the broader details of it. They remember moments. None of us remember every single thing that we've experienced in our life, right? But we remember special moments. There is a universal language. People say love is a universal language, music is a universal language. Fair enough, they're all good, really good languages, and you can convey a lot. But a language that you can use in your speech that will connect with everybody is emotions, right? So when you were at that troubled point, what was your emotion? What was going through your mind? When you felt like there was just no way forward, what were your emotions at that point of time? And when you found that cure and that turning point in your story, when there was light where there was darkness before, what was your emotion at that point of time? And when you made those changes in your life and you were able to succeed, what were your emotions at that point of time? When we speak in terms of emotions and we're able to convey that to the audience, that's when we really have that connection with the audience. I want to ask you a question, and you can be honest about it. Who's the hero of your story? Are you the hero of your story? Maybe you are. Maybe you are. I want to talk to you about one kid. You remember back when we were in school, there used to be this kid who used to sit in the front row, right under the teacher's nose, and before the teacher finishes the question, I'll tell. 100 out of 100 in every exam, every question right, gold medalist. You remember that kid? Yes. Yeah? Nobody liked that kid. Nobody. I'm sorry if you were that kid. Nobody likes that kid. Nobody likes that kid. There was nothing wrong with the kid. The kid was actually brilliant. But no one likes to feel inferior, right? No one likes to see that somebody is superior to them. So if you start your speech by saying, I achieved this, I got a gold medal in psychology, I got the Nobel Prize for mathematics, and I was awarded by the king of Uganda with a gold mine, and You've lost your audience right at the beginning, right? Talk about your struggle. I was not able to do this. I wasn't able to achieve as much as I could have. These were the challenges that I faced. This is how I turned my life around. And now I'm able to do this. Then people are with you. Reach, don't preach. Don't preach. If people wanted to be preached at, they would have gone to, mosque or temple or church or somewhere, not come to a Toastmasters meeting. Reach. Connect with people, and that's what really matters. The next thing that I want to talk to you about today, if you wanted to give somebody a gift, right? Do you think it's okay if you just take it out of your pocket and throw it at them? Maybe if it's the latest iPhone, somebody may still catch it. Another point altogether. But you want to really present it in a nice way, right? Communication at its most basic form is taking a message from point A to point B. That's what it is. Whether it is speaking or internet or CDs or movies or books, it's just taking a message from point A to point B. Fundamental is that point B should be willing to receive it. So it doesn't matter how good your message is and how important it is. Unless people are going to receive it, your message is lost. And it's up to you to present it in such a way that they are willing to receive it. So how do you do that? You decorate your speech. You use good language. You use alliterations, triads, make it sound really nice. You present it in an interactive manner such that people are also involved in this transaction. That it's not a one-sided conversation, it is a dialogue. I'll give you a small example of a sound word. The sentence in question is, it's a part of my story. I was driving through Sheikh Zayed Road and I got a flat tire. Okay, that's the sentence. What if you said, I was driving through Sheikh Zayed Road, bang, I got a flat tire. Does the second one sound a little better than the first one? Yeah? But don't put a bang in every sentence. Otherwise the audience will bang you. Yeah? Use it appropriately. But the idea, see the difference between reading an article or a magazine or a book and actually giving a speech on stage is that when you're reading it, you have multiple chances to read it again and again until you actually get it. But when you're delivering it live on stage, you've got one shot. Either the audience is with you or they're not. And remember, when you take the stage, your competition is not just the other 7 or 8 people in that contest. There are 200 other things that the audience would rather do than listen to you. There's that important WhatsApp message that came and maybe they were in the middle of taking a pic for their Instagram. Or there's an important shopping list which I also received, which we must buy before we get home tonight. Right? Or there's a cute new guest who just walked in who needs to be introduced, even if you're not the membership VP. Right? Yeah, you've got to pay attention to these things. Right? So there are a lot of things that the audience would rather do than listen to you. So you've got to make it interesting for them. Game time in a speech is the first 30 seconds. If you win the first 30 seconds, the crowd is likely to be with you for the rest of the journey. If you lose the first 30 seconds, then you have an uphill battle to get them onto your side. Then the content you present has to be more and more interesting, which gets them attracted to what you're saying. So when you script your speech, do your entire speech. Do your stories, do your messages, do your call to action, do your closing. Come back and write something special for your opening. Because you have to win the opening, right? That's how you get this game on your side. Just as important as the opening is, so is the closing. Why is the closing important? Because that's the point where the audience is most likely to remember what you're saying. Because it's pretty much the last thing that you're saying. Have you heard of a speech called I Have a Dream? Do you know who gave that speech? Martin Luther King Jr. Excellent. Great. I mean, you guys remember it. Every motivational speaker in the world uses it. Quick question and a prize for anybody who can answer this, right? What's the second line of that speech? Third line? Fourth? Any other line in that speech? No? Continue dreaming. It doesn't matter because it's that one short sentence of 4 words that has lasted the test of time, right? We still associate it with so many great things. It's associated with the movement. It's associated with freedom. It's associated with an entire generation. That's how important those 4 words are. This is how advertisers work, right? So they create something rhythmic, something, a nice jingle, and when you listen to those words, you remember that message. That's why finding a foundation phrase, a phrase that pays, something that you can summarize, something that can describe what you're trying to say is important. So if you can find something like that for your message, maybe something short, 4, 7 words, and use it appropriately at the right times in your speech, then that makes your speech memorable. Toastmasters use this all the time. We have Dhananjay Hettiarach's speech, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. Very catchy line, right? And even after 7 or 8 years, we still remember it. But it's got to be used at the right time. See, when Dhananjay Hettiarachi says, I see something in you, it's okay. But picture this, you go to your doctor, he looks at your x-ray and says, Mr. Hashim, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. You would be running for your life. Yeah, using it at the appropriate times makes that message more powerful. Where can you use your strong phrase? Maybe right after your story or at that turning point in your story. Secondly, when you're giving your call to action. And finally, at your conclusion. Because your most powerful sentence needs to be there where it is all ending. Since it's my red, I will go on to my last and final secret. There has to be a secret, right? There has to be a secret. There is a secret for everything in this world. There has to be a cheat code. There has to be a shortcut. There has to be one single pill that you can apply that's going to change your game altogether. Yeah? Today is the day to reveal all. Santa is here. Santa brings gifts. One gift for you all. Secret recipe that's going to make any speech work beautifully for you. You guys want to know what that is? Yeah, I've done enough build-up to set it up, right? All right. So the secret recipe to making your international speech amazing. Speak from your heart. I don't care whether you have 700 words or 650 words, whether you've listened to your mentor or not. Speak from your heart, right? We talk about vocal variety, we talk about body language. You already have that in you. All you got to do is find the right words to bring that passion out of you. The body language, the vocal variety will follow you. Speak from your heart. Speak the truth. Speak not because you have to do a project. Speak not because the VP Education told you it's your turn to do that. Speak not because there is a contest and they need people to participate. Speak because you have something important to say. Let that important thing come from your heart and connect with the people. That's when your speech is of any use to anybody. It comes back to that first question, what's in it for them? What's in your heart is what's in it for them. So just speak from your heart and let the words do the magic. With that, I end my words. I am colorblind, so I don't have red. But back to the Toastmaster of the day.